Alright, what's going on, guys? Chili Games back again with another ranking video, and I was actually going to try to make this a single video, and what we're doing today is the premium ships that are available for doubloons in the store currently, and I was going to do the entire the entire store, but there's like 40 or 50 ships, and I was like, that's just way too long. I want to try and keep these as a little bit as concise as possible, even though I'm actually terrible at doing that. And some things to get off my chest before we start is this is World of Warships Legends. Our tier system is different compared to PC, so hopefully trying to not have any more comments about, hey, these ships aren't on the right tiers. It's like, no, this is the right tier. This is Legends. So, also, when it comes to premium ships and my opinion on them, I'm paying real money for a ship. I would like it to perform pretty well, be unique, and at least be worth it for the tier. So, me personally, I'm pretty harsh. If I were to buy a premium, I would expect it to at least do decently and at least be a lot of fun. There is obviously a lot of premiums, or a handful of premiums that, in my opinion, competitively, are just not even on the same scale. But let's get into it. Starting off with the Arizona. Now, Arizona is actually a ship that I just recently acquired, and I will say, compared to the New Mexico and the California, it does feel more accurate. In terms of a Tier 5 battleship, I think Tier 5 premium battleship Arizona, in my opinion, is a really solid place to start. Um, this is actually kind of difficult because I think there's a better Tier 5 premium battleship, and for now I'm gonna have to put Arizona here. Very, very solid. If there was an A plus tier, Arizona would probably go there. It does, however, suffer in the carrier gameplay that we are experiencing now. So honestly, I think A is pretty good against surface ships. Arizona is by far probably one of the best pound for pound BVs at tier 5. Moving on, we have the West Virginia, and West Virginia is actually not my favorite. I'm going to put it at B, and I'm going to explain why. You do have really big guns. You have 406 millimeter American, US, USN, USA, USS, big guns. And while bigger is great, it's not always better. At tier 5, you're going to be facing a lot of lightly armored cruisers, and you're going to be facing a lot of battleships with very little bow armor. Not actually too sure. I know tier 6 usually hovers around the 25, 26 millimeter plating. So at tier 5, you do not need the overmatch that comes with 406 millimeters. Is it good versus battleships? I would say yes. However, the accuracy and dispersion can be a little bit wonky, and only having 8 guns as opposed to Arizona's 12 slightly, or 12 smaller guns. Um, Arizona is just better overall versus the majority of targets that you're going to be facing at tier 5 and even tier 4. So West Virginia, while it does have the big overmatch of 406, you really don't need it, and it's going to cause a lot more overpins instead of those big juicy citadels that you want. So I'm going to stick it at B. Coming up next is the Flow Rider. And the Florida is a ship that I can see where it could be decent, but to me, there's a couple things that just don't really make sense for it to me. If you have if you have the Golden Eagle camo for it, I think that's one of the sickest camos in the game. So it's got that going for it. Performance wise, you're paying $50 for a ship. Performance wise, I mean, this could even go C. It's just, it has very small guns for tier 6. 356, I believe. Let me check real quick. I actually have the page right here before I get into it. I'm 99% sure it's 356. Where are you? Yeah, 356. I don't know why I doubted that. 12 356 millimeter guns, and you have a 33-second reload. So you're sharing guns from the Arizona basically, and you have a slower reload. It just doesn't make too much sense to me. I can see these guns having a 30-second reload and then being fine. The top speed is actually very underwhelming. I believe it's in the 26, 27 knot area. Just overall, there's a lot of powerhouses at Tier 6 BBs, Tech Tree and Premium. So Florida, to me, is probably just one of the weakest overall, except for these right here, these last two. But we'll get into those. Actually, yeah, we'll leave it a B for now. Okay. Coming up next, we have the granddaddy, the Warspite. The Warspite is the reason why I put Arizona at A. Warspite has 381mm guns at Tier 5. It absolutely smacks. It is very accurate. It is somewhat lightly armored, but if you know how to play it and use guns to your advantage, I honestly have not seen a lot of people that just don't absolutely love this ship. This Warspite, in my opinion, is probably tier for tier one of the strongest battleships in the game and an excellent choice if you're looking for a tier 5 battleship. Tier 5 premium, I really don't think you can go wrong with Warspite, as well as Arizona. These two are very, very good. Moving on, we have the Hood. Now, the Hood for me is a ship that I don't quite like too much. To me, it resembles Warspite a little bit in terms of its guns. They seem a little bit less accurate, but the problem is it just feels very meh for me. I can just never seem to get it to do what I want to do, and it's just never really appealed to me. It's definitely not my favorite, and if you're going to get a tier 6 premium BB, I think that's where most of this comes from. There's better options, and I'll get to that in about a minute, seeing as it's next on the list. So for now, I'm going to put Hood at B. It's just not my thing, and with Warspite as a UK BB and the Nelson, there's just really no place for me to put Hood or actually enjoy it. Nelson is an absolutely fantastic Tier 6 battleship. It can struggle a little bit at Tier 7, but what Tier 6 battleship doesn't? It actually probably does better than most because it has short-fused 406mm guns, so you retain the overmatch from 406, which is very, very important for a lot of Tier 7 cruisers, meaning you can overmatch their 27mm bow, so it gives you options versus cruisers a lot more so than others when you are up-tiered into a Tier 7 game. Nelson is definitely all about position. It has very weak armor, but it makes up for that with a massive heal. I think Nelson is a lot of people's go-to for a Tier 6 Premium BB. I love the ship. I have tons of games on it. My buddy Zarkoon, fellow CC, also loves the Nelson. It is in his trailer for his videos. Nelson overall is just fantastic. So if you're looking for a Tier 6 battleship, do your research, watch some videos, but my recommendation would definitely go for the Nelson. I love the ship so much. Coming up next is not the best. The Duke of York. Duke of York's going to go B for me as well. And remember, I'm ranking these on how they play in the game with a price tag on it. Like, these Tier 6 ships are $50. You know, that's the price of a AAA game, so it's almost the price, basically, you know what I'm saying. So, I'm going to pay $50 for something. It better be pretty damn good, in my opinion. Not overpowered, but pretty damn good. Duke of York is, in my opinion, just a very weird ship. It came out before carriers, and the thing about Duke of York is over the KGV, which is basically the same ship. It has better AA than the KGV, but in the grand scheme of things, that doesn't really mean too much because carriers are pretty strong if the carrier player knows what he's doing. Your increased AA over a KGV is not going to really do much, and you're looking at a longer reload. KGV is excellent for slinging HE. The AP is actually very good and very accurate with dispersion builds for cruisers. And the Duke of York with a 29.5-second reload, which is 4.5 seconds longer than the KGV, it just feels like, I don't know, it feels like if I wanted to play a ship that plays like the KGV or the Duke of York, I don't think I would ever pick the Duke of York. The KGV just kind of covers a lot of areas very, very well. So why would I pay money for Duke of York when? Let me put it this way. KGV is amazing with HE. If you want to play a British battleship that has really good HE, grind the tech tree, use the KGV. It's better. If you want a British battleship that can sling AP at tier 6, buy the Nelson. Buy the Nelson. It is just better. Nelson actually has insane HE as well, so really good AP, really good HE. KGV has really good HE. Duke of York is just one of those that's kind of in the middle, and it's just like, why would I pay money when there's a better option right here? And that's just my opinion. Coming up next, we have, next to my ruffles and feathers, Prinz Ike Friedrich. This one might go C, actually. Okay, no, I'm doing it. Okay, and the reason why it's going C is it is a German battleship without a turtleback. It's tier 5 German battleship, and it doesn't have the turtleback that German battleships have. So your survivability, like, do not do not play this like in a brawling BB and show broadside expecting to not get citadel, because you will get citadel hard. And I believe you have 350 millimeter guns. It's a very weird caliber. Let me check it actually before I spout off and say something that I don't know. I haven't played this thing in forever. I apologize. 350, yeah. So it's just a weird caliber. It is just honestly, I could never see myself buying this ship when things like the Arizona and the Warspite are there as well. If you kind of get where I'm coming from with that, it just doesn't. Also, the tech tree, the Bayern tier 5, the free one, is actually really, really solid. So, in my opinion, why would I pay money for a mediocre premium version when the tech tree, in my opinion, is better? And there's better tier 5 premium options anyway. So, gonna leave it at that. Let me know what you think. And the Scharnhorst, I'm gonna have to go for A. Now, Scharnhorst is a lot of fun. However, the reason why I'm not putting it as S is the meta has heavily shifted. When the Scharnhorst first came out, it's an S. It's an S plus. It is ridiculous. It's not even funny. 100% S plus. There's no competition. As the meta has evolved, we have a lot more HE spam, and we have a much more passive game. So it is very hard for Scharnhorst to actually consistently get into places to take advantage of its brawling nature. Scharnhorst, in my opinion, is very easy to counter, and as long as you don't let it get into 6 kilometers where it has torpedoes, it's pretty easy to counter. However, game to game, it can be a lot of fun, and it can bring some pretty crazy and some pretty fun times, but competitively, price-wise, meta shift going away from it, it's 15,000 doubloons, so it's pretty expensive, but definitely a ton of fun. I know a lot of people are going to say Scharnhorst is a must-have. I think it is a fantastic choice, but for me, it will be an A. So I would definitely still get it. Coming up next, we have the only Italian BB as a premium other than the Roma, but this is BB's in the store. Roma is not in the store. It was a campaign ship. The Giulio Cesare, the Tier 4 Italian absolute beast. Hands down, one of the most disgusting ships, tier for tier, in the game. It is crazy. The maneuverability, the speed, the guns. It is for tier 4. It is ungodly. Now, some things to note about it is you do not have an accuracy commander for the Italian BBs, so the dispersion can be a little annoying sometimes. However, it is tier 4. You have insane mobility for a battleship. You have really good guns, really punchy guns, and overall, it is just the absolute complete package at tier 4. So if you are looking for a tier 4 battleship, my first recommendation would definitely be the GC. Easy choice. Coming up next is a bit of an oof on the last 4. Mutsu, man, this is a B or a C from me. I'm not going to lie. I will say you're paying money for this ship, and for me, it does nothing. You have very large guns, 410mm guns at tier 5. However, like with the West Virginia, bigger guns at this tier does not mean better. Your dispersion is very wonky. You're going to overpin a lot, and in my opinion, there are just much better bang for your buck values up here. So I could not recommend it, and it's just not my favorite to play almost ever. Coming into the next big oof is the Ashitaka, basically the tier 6, same ship, but Ashitaka doesn't get torpedoes. However, it is basically a tier 6 Amagi. It has 410mm guns. The same dispersion problems with Mutsu travel over as well. It is not the most accurate. It gets very annoyingly weird salvos sometimes when you really need them to count. And the reason why I rank it C is there are just way better options and better bang for your buck up here. I could never see myself spending real money on these ships, and that's just me. Maybe you have a ton of disposable income and you want them, go for it. But for me, I don't. Could never do it. Moving on. Tier 4, Russian battleship. I'm just going to call it the October Revolution. This is a ship that I think is somewhat strong. However, it is not really my thing. Dreadnoughts, early battleships, the Dreadnought phase, really annoy me. I just don't like the speed. The guns, for me, when I've played it, were a little bit iffy. I simply can't put it higher than B just because I think it's good. I think it's fine, but you're paying money for it, and if you're paying money for a tier 4 premium BB, get this one. get the Italian one. Get the giuliocesare. This is the best Italian ship in the game, tier for tier, 100%. I know a lot of people that will agree with me. Maybe some that disagree. This is just not my thing. It's just not. Going up next, we have the Poltava. This one's very weird as well, and it's going to be another ship that I have to actually check the gun caliber because it is very weird. I want to say 330 millimeter. It is such a weird caliber. Give me the stats. It's 356? I thought it was something weirder than that. 356. But anyways, Poltava is one of those things where why would you pay money for it when the tech tree version is better? If you have the Sinop, you know what I'm talking about. And if you have both of them, if you had a chance to pick the Sinop or the Poltava for your go-to Russian tier 6 battleship, which one are you picking? I highly doubt that anyone's actually going to pick the Poltava over the Sinop. It is just 356 millimeter guns, much like with the Florida, can struggle very, very hard at tier 6, and also when being up tiered. It is just very, very middle of the pack, very meh. The Sinop is better. With the if a tech tree ship is better in my mind, I am not going to spend money on a premium one. So, and that's basically how I'm going to put it. Now, there were a couple ships that occasionally pop up into the store, and they are on special sometimes. Like, I know sometimes the Texas comes in, all that kind of stuff. I am simply going off the list that is in. If you go to the store, you go to the ships, these are all the tier 6 premiums right now. So, you know, this, if you watch this a few months from now, I'm sorry, the list is probably going to be different from what you see. So it might be a little bit iffy. But anyways, going from here, we actually forgot one. We forgot one, guys. Oh no! It's the Dunkerque. Oh, you can actually get the Dunkerque in store, but it's through the ship option. Oh my lord. Alright, so a couple things about the Dunkerque real quick. For me, it's going to be a hard B or a hard C. Dunkerque is very, very easy to damage. Almost every battleship overmatches it. Your turrets get knocked out so easily. And your dispersion is just very, very wonky. French battleship dispersion is very infuriating at some points. And to me, there are just much better premium options at tier 5. Dunkerque would be one of my last picks. Probably would pick it over the PEF, Prince Otto Friedrich, but my opinion, Dunkerque is a solid B or a high C, maybe. But yeah, I'm going to stop this video here. This went super long, but if you are still here, guys, I really appreciate y'all being here. What do you think about these picks? Again, this is my opinion. You are free to have your own opinion, and if this changes your opinion of me and you think that I suck now and you're unsubscribing now, go for it. Go ahead. Doesn't bother me. Anyways, guys, thank you for listening, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.